Hi there and welcome back to another book review. Today I am talking about The Fury by Alex Michaelides. If you're thinking about checking out The Fury yourself, you don't have to worry about spoilers in this video. The first half of my videos are always spoiler free so you can see if this book is your cup of tea. After a quick summary and a basic review, I will give a clear spoiler warning before I do more of a deep dive into some of my praises and criticisms for this book. These are some content warnings for The Fury by Alex Michaelides. The Fury is a first-person narrative from the friend of a famous movie star, and it details what happens when this movie star and a group of her friends go for a vacation on a Greek island. Throughout this story, there are several moments where you might think you have it figured out, but then another twist comes in, we rewind to the beginning and learn more about what we didn't know. Before I give you my rating for The Fury, let's do a quick run-through of my rating system. 1 star means that I could not finish the book. 2 stars means that I finished the book, but I struggled to. 3 stars means that I enjoyed it and it was worth reading. 4 stars means I really enjoyed it and I would recommend it to a friend. And 5 stars, which is my highest honor, means that I would read the book again. I gave The Fury by Alex Michaelides a 2-star rating. I had very high hopes for this one because I had heard such good things about the silent patient, but unfortunately this book just was not for me. We are now entering the spoiler-filled part of this video. If The Fury sounds like a book that you want to read, now is a great time to pause, go read it, and then come back so that you can engage with my deep dive. If you like the sound of this book but you don't want to read it yourself, stick around and I will give you a full rundown. So The Fury starts with a quick and cheeky introduction from our narrator who claims he's going to do his best to tell us the story, but that we can't fault him for any mistakes he makes. We learn that our narrator is friends with a famous movie star named Lana. According to our narrator, Lana is out on a walk in dreary England and decides she wants to go somewhere sunny. So she ends up inviting Kate, her friend who's starring in a Broadway show, Jason, her husband, Leo, her son, and Elliot, our narrator, to go on a vacation to a Greek island. The group arrives on the island and they meet up with Nikos, who is the caretaker who lives there full time ever since Lana received the island as a gift from her previous husband. Agatha also comes along on this trip, and she's a Greek woman who was once Leo's babysitter but now serves as a general housekeeper and assistant for Lana. As the characters move around the island and interact with one another, we see more tensions come to light. There are several moments where some characters feel uneasy and like somebody has been watching them. Jason, Lana's husband, has taken up hunting as a hobby, so gunshots are often heard echoing throughout the island. Lana and Leo work together to plant some stuff in the garden, and the members of the group decide to have a picnic. Kate ends up being late to the picnic because she's constantly drinking and very hungover, and she's on her way to meet up with them when she runs into Jason. This is when we learn that the two of them are actually having an affair behind Lana's back, and as Jason and Kate talk and kiss, Jason gets the distinct feeling that someone is watching them. The wind is picking up around the island, something that the narrator refers to as the Fury, as apparently these Greek islands have a reputation for super high winds that can be very dangerous. But despite the winds, the group decides to go out to another island to have dinner at a nice restaurant. During dinner, Kate ends up making a bit of a spectacle of herself, and the tensions are very high within the group. As they're taking the boat back to Lana's private island, the boat is lurching around and the winds are getting stronger. When they return to the island, Agatha goes to bed for the night, and when she wakes up, it's because she hears the sound of a gunshot. Agatha gets out of bed, searching for Lana, and finds her body in a pool of blood just beyond the olive grove. Leo arrives and is immediately hysterical, crouching down and holding his mother's body. Our narrator, Elliot, feels for a pulse and then tells Jason and Kate as they arrive that Lana is dead. After this big discovery of Lana's body, the narrator takes the time to rewind the story back to the beginning, sprinkling in more details that we didn't have from the start. This is when we learn more about how close Elliot and Lana are as friends, and that Elliot has always secretly had a crush on her and actually was going to ask her to marry him at one point. We also learned that Lana actually found out about Jason and Kate's affair before the trip, and she went to ask Elliot what she should do. At this point, Elliot came up with a plan to punish Jason and Kate for what they were doing, which involved faking Lana's death. So Lana invites everyone to the island and they start to go along with the plan. Elliot has his own plans, however, and goes behind Lana's back to try and manipulate the situation to get what he wants out of it. He agitates Kate, gets a gun into her hand, and sends her in Jason's direction, hoping that she's so upset and distraught that she will shoot Jason. Elliot tells Kate that Jason was the one who killed Lana and hopes that Kate will take her revenge, leaving Elliot to be able to marry Lana as he had always intended. But before Elliot's plan can unfold, Nikos finds him crouching in the bushes and forces him to walk out to where Kate and Jason are having their confrontation. Everybody turns on Elliot pretty quick, confronting him for his manipulation in the situation, and Jason and Kate decide that they're going to turn the gun on on Elliot and just kill him instead. Elliot screams for Lana, who is still alive, to help him, but when Lana appears, she reveals that she has actually been in on this plan to turn on Elliot since the very beginning. Once again, we reverse back to the beginning of the story where we learn that after Lana went to ask Elliot what to do, she woke up the next morning and saw his own intricate plans to kind of manipulate the situation, and she also finds notes that show that Elliot was aware of Kate and Jason's affair since pretty much the beginning. He also details his plans to kill Jason and marry Lana instead, which unsurprisingly does not sit well with her. Lana's horrified and goes to Kate, who apologizes for the affair, and then the two women hatch a scheme to turn it around on Elliot and get back at him instead. We fast forward back to the present moment where Elliot is being humiliated by all of them. They leave him out on the dock after scaring him and making him wet his pants, and the group just returns back to the house to have lunch without him, telling him that he needs to get off the island. Elliot turns into the Fury, like the wind outside, and takes the gun, stalks into the house, and shoots Lana, killing her for real this time. And the book ends with us finding out that Elliot is actually in jail, and that is where he is narrating this story from. Alright, so now that you know everything that happens in this book, let's get into some of my praises and criticisms. I always like to start with what I like first. And the first thing I would like to say that was pretty interesting about the story is the multiple switcheroos, where at first we believe Lana is the victim, and then we start to believe maybe Jason and Kate are the victims of the fake shooting, and then ultimately we find out Elliot is the final victim of the big plan. Though I liked this idea on paper, I think that it really came down to execution for me, and I just found it really difficult to stay interested in the plot when we kept reversing back to the beginning. Elliot, our narrator, has these cheeky interjections that just don't feel validated by his character. They just didn't sit well with me, and I think they were meant to be charming or maybe even like horribly awkward just based on his character, but every time it just kind of took me out of the story. The setting for the story is pretty interesting and pretty classic as far as thrillers go. A group of people marooned on an island with really no way to get off or come back because of the weather. And so I didn't mind that, and I also think that Greek islands are usually a pretty beautiful place to describe in a book. Unfortunately, I don't think that we really got to capitalize on that in The Fury, as though the story is taking place on this Greek island, we don't get a lot of imagery or explicit descriptions about the beauty of the place or how that may affect the people there. The other issue I found with The Fury is that the characters just felt kind of flat to me. I wanted more from each of them, and I felt like we got just enough to want more, but not enough to really make the characters feel three-dimensional. For example, we learned that Leo is a vegan and wants to become an actor like his mom, and I just wish that there had been more beef there to really see the relationship between Lana and Leo. We get a little bit of their conflict of her not wanting him to become an actor, but I just was hoping for more there. I also think Jason's character is particularly flat, being painted as kind of a stupid and financially motivated husband who would cheat on his famous movie star wife, but I wish we had more reason to see why he would do something like that besides just being dumb. And as for Kate and Lana, we see them hatching this plan together where they're gonna turn everything back around on Elliot, and I also would have liked more background into these two women and their friendship and how it would be strong enough for them to pull off a deception like this. So ultimately, The Fury I think was just not the right book for me, but if you enjoy Alex Michaelides' other work, you may love this story. If you read The Fury by Alex Michaelides and you enjoyed it, you might also enjoy The Villa by Rachel Hawkins, The Spare Room by Andrea Bartz, and She Started It by Sean Gilbert. All in all, I think The Fury was just not the right book for me, and so I ended up giving it a 2-star rating. If you like Alex Michaelides' other work or love books about Greek islands, this one may be right for you. If you're interested in any of the books I mentioned in this video, you can find links to them in the description below. Thanks for watching.